28 to 11 on 3AW, and we heard last week of the passing of Digby Wolfe, who was a great television personality, both in Britain, in America with the Laugh-In series,
yes,
and here in Australia.
Yeah, pioneer from the early days here.
And one of the vocalists that worked a lot with Digby Wolfe through the years, Ted Hamilton, Phil.
Hi, Ted. Good evening to you.
Phil, how are you, mate, and Bruce?
Thank you, Ted, for coming on tonight.
And, of course, you'd have fond memories of reviews 61 and 62.
Very much so, mate. Still the benchmark for variety shows in Australia. That was as good as it got.
And, of course, you were the resident singer, always on that stool in McGarth.
You've got a good memory, Phil. Or you're a little boy. You've only pictures.
If only would you tell us about the Digby Wolfe you knew, Ted?
Diggers. Well, we had a long and enduring friendship. Very talented man. Very generous with his time and his friendship. Very highly intelligent man. We remained friends till just recently. I spoke to him only a couple of days ago before he died, just before he died.
Yeah, I was surprised to read that he was 82 years of age.
Yeah, well, he hit everything, Digby. He was a very secretive guy. You didn't know much about him.
What was he doing before he came to Australia?
Digby gave up show business many years ago when I migrated to America with my family. In the early 70s, he was with Laugh-In with George Slater, very successful show, and he was head writer on that with George Slater, who produced it and put it together. And, Diggers was, writing at Professor of, I think his official title was Professor of Creative Writing at the New Mexico, Albuquerque. I went over there once to see him, but I still don't really know what his position was. He was a professor at the university.
But do you know why he came to Australia? What was the reason? What he'd been doing before that?
Yes, Peter McFarlane was a producer. He was a Canadian boy and very talented, very gifted. And he brought all of those techniques that everybody borrowed and everybody was influenced by, particularly at Channel 9 here in Melbourne, you'd remember, the Peter Famans, and they all sort of grabbed stuff from Peter McFarlane because of his camera skills and abilities. And he was the guy who produced a show in England called Chelsea at 9,
yes,
in which Digby starred, and they decided to come to Australia and to basically replicate it here. So with some minor changes, it was what they had done in London, which of course with minor changes is what Laugh-In finished at.
And of course we forget we're looking back to 50 years ago now. How did you become involved with the show?
I was approached by Peter McFarlane and Channel 7 actually, Hatchet Harry, who was the guy there then, and James Osborne, who was the chief of it for the Fairfax Group. And they called me up and said that there was a new show that they wanted to do because I had been doing just about every show on television since 1956.
Yeah, you and Joe Martin, both of you, yeah.
And so he called, James Osborne called me up and said he had a show that they wanted to talk to you about and somebody wanted me to meet. So naturally I went up to Channel 7 and I met Peter McFarlane. He said, I saw you do a clip with the Australian Jazz Quintet on Channel 2. That was Don Burrows in the Australian All-Stars.
Yeah.
And I said, oh yeah, and I used to do 5-minute fill-ins for them when the ABC didn't promo like they do, and they had gaps between shows. You'd remember those, Bruce? And
Yes, I do.
yeah, well, they used to fill them up with little things, and I did a fair few of them, and there's still a few of them exist. And Ray Desmond said to me she had a series of them because
yes,
she could keep a Ray. And he said he'd seen me do Mac the Knife with the Australian All-Stars, Jazz All-Stars. He wanted me for this show, and he told me about it, and I said, okay, well... And he said to me something that I had never had said to me before, and he said, look, I think you're a very talented, very inventive guy. You just think of a number every week, and you tell me what you want, and you want it done, and it'll be done. Well, I'd never been given that sort of license before. And we all had that sort of license from Peter McFarlane. He kept control of it like a good director does, but he allowed us free rein in our creative skills.
Yeah, sadly he died in a boating accident in Canada, didn't he?
Yeah, he was filming on a raft or something, on some lake up there above, in Canada, the Great Lakes area somewhere, and the thing submerged. Somehow something went wrong. I still don't know what it was. Those lakes blow up very quickly and become very dangerous.
Yeah.
And he finished up drowning with the cables. They couldn't free him from the cables, and apparently some people had tried, and they couldn't. Tied the camera equipment, but and you know how heavy that old camera equipment was. Goodness.
Ted, lovely talking to you on a very sad note at the passing of Digby Wolfe and the memories you have of Digby, and thank you for reliving those memories for us tonight. Ted Hamilton.
Yes, he and Digby were very close, as you know. They spoke on the phone only this past week.
Yes, and kept that friendship and closeness going, well, till the end.
Yes, I'd never met Digby Wolfe, but he made a big impression on those of us who remember him.